So would love to hear a little bit more about around those. So let's start with the rangelands and caravans initiative that you're working on. I love this idea.
So indeed, this year is the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists that has been declared by the United Nations. And you may know rangelands by many different names. Sometimes it's called steppes, sometimes they're called prairies, sometimes they're called
Okay.
tundra, savanna. So these are areas that actually cover half of the world's terrestrial surface. But what is less known is these are the areas that are disappearing sometimes faster than the rainforest, but it's not received the same level of attention globally. So what we're trying to do is to shine the spotlight on rangelands and the custodians of these rangelands, the pastoralists. And there are 2 billion people who depend on rangelands for various um, needs, livelihoods, food, you name it, around the world. So what we're trying to do is to have a symbolic and physical journey that would connect Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, which was the host of the previous conference of the parties of UNCCD, to the upcoming one in Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia. And in embarking on this journey, which will actually start this month, and it
Cool.
will start in Turkey, which again is a place where a lot of cultures and traditions and civilizations have met. It will traverse a number of countries, really trying to reconnect that spirit of journey, the spirit of collective action, and the spirit, hopefully, of investing more in the health of rangelands, but also sustaining the populations that do depend on them.
I absolutely love it. I think it's phenomenal. And Xenia, you're one of the best storytellers I've actually ever worked with. And so tell us a little bit more. This podcast is about design for impact, creativity for impact. And I think, as we spoke about before, this episode in particular is really about sort of like campaigning for impact and campaigning for good. So can you give us a little sneak peek, I guess, into some of your process into kind of creating these ideas and coming up with these concepts, like the idea of a caravan sort of going across sort of all of these lands is so interesting. What do you have any thinking frameworks, or what's the process that you go to kind of land on these campaigns and these concepts?
Well, thanks very much, Karen. Again, I really enjoyed us creating Zero Malaria campaign together some years back. And to me, and again, I really love the idea of the podcast, design for good. Ultimately, it is indeed something that we're all trying to do in various ways. And to me, creativity has always been a key part of what we're trying to do to change public perspectives and actually effect change on the ground. So how do I go about it? Sometimes it is an inspiration. And to me, for instance, with the Silk Road Caravan, it was an idea of really how can we show that, there is a forward movement. It is about pastoralists, people who have been moving for centuries, for generations across such vast distances. And along with those movements, we have seen how cultures, sort of get into contact with one another. How do we really bring innovations from one place to the next? If you think about even um, some of the stops along the journey, such as Samarkand and Uzbekistan, that has been a traditional sort of hub for innovation in the, at a time when we weren't as conveniently linked by air travel or any modern ways of transport. It was through caravans, and it was through people who were, just eager to learn and share, and just do something adventurous. So I guess, that spirit of adventure, that spirit of doing something that is not your usual, sort of press release is what drives me. And in everything that I'm doing, I'm trying to see what is it that would really get people excited, engaged, and give that sense of wonder that I think is very important in what we do.